Hey guys, so I have a special treat for you guys today. This is something that is going to be very different for what my channel has done so far, but I reached out to this deck creator recently and I was very moved by this deck, and I really just wanted to share it with you guys. And so she was ever so wonderful and sent me a copy to review, and I wanted to first do an unboxing and a flip through and initial impressions, which is not something I generally do on this channel, but I really wanted to do a couple of videos on this deck to really show how wonderful it is and to share my gratitude. So we are going to be going through the whole deck, and I'm going to be looking at it for the first time, and then in a few weeks here, maybe a month, I will be putting up another video after I've worked with the deck for quite a bit, where I talk about how it worked for me and go a little bit deeper into its structure and how we got along. So sorry if you see the shadows. It's not the best lighting. I can only really record at night, honestly, as you guys know. Also, one other thing, you are going to see my casted arm here, because as you guys may have seen in my last few videos, I had mentioned that I had fell a week ago, and I did in fact break my wrist. I just got back from the doctor not that long ago, and they took another x-ray and said, yep, it's broken. So sorry for the casted hand there, but that's what we're working with today. So because of my hand being messed up and broken, I did take this out of the box. I did take the shrink wrap off of the deck, only because I don't really want you guys to see me sit there and struggle with that. So I figured I would just do that and save some time. But anyway, right into it. This is the Dark Days Tarot. This is by Wren McMurdo. She is another Washingtonian artist who, when I came across this deck and I read about her and the reason why she created this deck, which is kind of inspired by the darker days of the lunar phases, I was really moved by it. I have been working with the dark moon and really trying to incorporate that into my practice. So I felt that this was something that really needed to be a part of my practice. I do know that the guidebook that this deck comes with is not written by the artist, which is Wren, but Emily Mundy. So there are two creators on this deck, and I just want to make sure to mention that. So this deck is also kind of unique in the sense that it is a black and white deck. It also is a square deck, and there's a purpose for that. So it comes in this really cute little box. It's actually smaller than I thought it was going to be, but you're going to see me kind of struggle here because it's really hard to do this stuff with my broken wrist. But I did want to show you guys the box really quick before I got into the deck. So we're just going to try and very carefully do this without hurting me. See, this is exactly why I was like, I didn't want to see you guys. I didn't want you guys to see me struggle. But hey, life's not perfect. Voila. The box is really cute because it has the suits on each of the sides here. I like that. That's a nice touch. The artwork on this deck is definitely unique. It's something that I had never seen anything quite like it. So here's the guidebook, and I'm really looking forward to getting more into the guidebook. I'm going to talk more about the guidebook when I do a review on this deck, because this is just my initial first impressions. I will read through the guidebook as I'm working with it. So we'll talk more about the guidebook then, and kind of the deck's function and all that stuff. I'm also really hoping that I don't knock over the camera with my big fat cast. So I did keep this on here just to show you guys that this is my first impressions. So we're gonna rip that off. I should have sat more comfortably in this chair, so you're gonna hear me shuffle for a second here. Okay, so this is the backs. They are super beautiful. Once again, you can kind of see all the suits in there. The pentacles, the wands, the swords. I think the cups too. Yeah, it's just beautiful. I love it. And you can see the moon phases there. There's a lot to take in from this deck. From my understanding, it's very symbolic. But yeah, let's go right into it. It's a beautiful Fool. As a mother myself, this just gives me so much feeling. That's pretty much how I jumped into motherhood. It was very much a Fool moment in my life where I was like, guess we're going for this. Now, from my understanding, the majors are in white, and the rest of them are in black. So here's the Ace of Cups. I like the sunshine with the rainbow. It's just kind of interesting because it shows this duality. You know, sometimes an abundance of something can be great, but if there's too much of it, that can also be a problem. From my understanding, actually, how this deck works is the 4 directions on how the cards, much like reversals would be, have different meanings on how these cards can be interpreted. So that's really awesome. I also forgot to mention that the cardstock is nice and matte. It's the kind of like, I don't know, it's a nice tactile experience. There's the Magician. So we have the crystal, the book, and then the fire kind of creating this energy with the nature. I think that's beautiful. Very witchy. I could definitely resonate with that card on a very pagan level. Ace of Pentacles. Of the eyes up here. And then there's a mouth and a hand holding the pentacle kind of out. Ace of Swords. Oh, that's interesting. For the mountain and the eyes. But there's all these layers to it, and there's roots below. It kind of makes me think of the World Tree in a little bit. Ace of Wands. That's beautiful. Wow. It just makes me feel empowered looking at that. Maybe that's the point behind it, because the Ace of Wands is kind of like a spark of energy. Oh, this Two of Cups is just so beautiful. I love the Two of Cups. This is actually the card that I got today, and every single time I get the Two of Cups, I have this thought of partnership, like ultimate partnership. Not even necessarily in a romantic sense, but in a I have you and you have me, and you're my rock, and we have this exchange, this equivalent exchange of our energy that we spend on each other. And it could be platonic or romantic, but either way, I just look at the Two of Cups with such a high regard every time I get it. Oh, this High Priestess. Look at her. She's got, it looks like generations behind her, ancestors, and she's blossoming from the earth up. Often when I meditate, when I first start to connect, this is something I kind of envision, so that's actually really cool. Two of Pentacles. It looks like she's just looking at the two choices that she's got before her. She seems so calm about it. Just, I can figure this out. Two of Swords. I like the duality here once again. You can see this figure has their hands up on their head, like they're just trying to concentrate. Two of Wands. Oh, that's beautiful. Dancing before the moon. The start of the journey. Three of Cups. I love it. Oh, beautiful. At the embryo. The Empress. Ugh, words. There's just so much in here that shows that she is the life giver. That she is the creatrix. That is just amazing. Everything about this image speaks to that. Three of Pentacles. I like how they're creating this structure. They're holding it up. One of my favorite quotes on the Three of Pentacles is actually from the Wild Unknown Tarot by Kim Kranz. And it's a mountain, and it shows these three pentacles on the mountain, and in the guidebook she says sometimes you need strength to conquer the mountain. But it basically is talking about relying on the connection that we have with other people and knowing when we need to ask for help and ask for assistance, and when we need people to help carry us. It kind of makes me think about Lord of the Rings. Sam Wise Gamgee. I can't carry the ring, but I can carry you. Ah, I'm such a dork. I love it. Three of Swords. Oh, they're piercing. One's going right through the center, and then those two are going through. The weird thing is, these two women, their poses almost look like they're being freed from this. Like something about it is liberating. I don't know. It's just what I get from it. Oh, look at this Three of Wands. That's beautiful. Oh, I just love that. Four of Cups. Just definitely focused on what's going on here and not the opportunity that's up here. Emperor. He stands atop a mountain. He gives me, once again, I'm going to reference Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry, guys. He gives me Gandalf feels. I love it. Four of Pentacles. Look at Earth. Yeah, she is tethered to it. But she is this angelic being. It's cute. You can see the moon down there too. That's cool. Four of Swords. They're coming at her, but she's got one. She's trying to fight it off. Every single time I see the Four of Swords, I always think this need to pull back and rest and have that solitude where it's just like, I need to think for a bit. Four of Wands. This was my card of the month last month. And I am still struggling to figure out how that applies, because last month I lost a friend and got in a pretty serious accident. So, but this is so beautiful. Gives me a lot of peace. Five of Cups. Oh, you can see that's, if you flip it, it makes different faces. Once again, you know how this deck is supposed to be read in all four directions too, so. Hierophant. I don't know why, it makes me think of Father Time. Five of Pentacles. I love the ray of hope, and yet they're kind of drowning in this. The moon phases are ever present in this deck too. I love that because I know it's heavily influenced by that, of course, as I mentioned. Some tension there. Sorry guys, it's broken wrist. Not fun. 6 of Cups. Huh. How interesting. The Lovers. They're just intertwined. This makes me think of the Lovers in the Sasorobito. They're almost in the same position, and they're so intertwined that it's kind of hard to distinguish between the two of them. The Lovers can often be that kind of intense energy. That's why the 2 of Cups tends to make me think of my marriage a little bit more than the Lovers would, just because I have been married for almost 8 years, and at this point it's more of that companionship type. 6 of Pentacles. I love the just witchiness to this, and the divine feminine presence in this deck. 6 of Swords. Just going upstream. Sorry, you might see me move my hand and kind of try to readjust it. It hurts. It's not super comfortable, so. Beautiful. Oh, this is such a cute chariot. On a bike. I found that when you're highly sensitive, which in the case I am, doing something like this, going on a bike ride, is actually really, really helpful for stepping out of overstimuli. So, I don't know, I just see that when I look at this. It's been really helpful for me, that's for sure. Even though most of the time I'm towing my kids behind me in their little bike trailer. 6, 7 of Cups. She seems to be kind of fading into this deep, lost in the choices. Exploding with knowledge here. It's beautiful. Seven of Swords. Trying not to be... Oh. That's interesting how parts of her fade into the darkness that are severed. I actually didn't notice that right away. I at first thought that she's trying to avoid getting severed by these swords, but it's very apparent that most of them have actually severed her. Seven of Wands. Oh, I love this 8 of Cups. That's really cool. Justice. Once again, you have that duality, which is perfect for Justice. It's fantastic. Oh, this is wonderful. 8 of Pentacles. Dedicating herself to her craft. 8 of Swords. Stuck. 8 of Wands. That's so cute. This gives me the Washington vibes. 9 of Cups. So many choices. The Hermit. The Nautilus. Actually, my card for the year, the Hermit. Nine of Pentacles. I like the gears and the chain down below. There's a lot to take in with this deck. Oh, this Nine of Swords. How many of you have felt this way? It's interesting, though. She's trying to protect herself. And there's this in between her and the swords. Nine of Swords does not feel good most of the time. But it's necessary, though. That's the thing. That's beautiful. I like the fire, but it's... Oh, that's really cool. See, again, there's a lot to take in from this deck. Oh, this Ten of Cups. That's so precious. I love it. This livestock here and just all this blossoming and these mountains and this happy home. Oh, it's a very comforting card. Oh, yep. I also know how this feels. This actually makes me look at this and confront some pretty jarring stuff about endometriosis. I can't tell you guys how many times I have spent in this position feeling like this was happening to me. It's, yeah, that's definitely... Ten of Wands. She's just climbing the mountain, so she's carrying all this burden on her back. Oh, the wheel. That's beautiful. I like the moon phases in there, of course. Strength. Oh, she's lovely. The lion just sits calmly beside her. The Hanged instead of the Hanged Man or the Hanged One. I like that. Hanging from the moon. There's all this growth coming as the sun. Sometimes we have to have that sacrifice to gain perspective. I think I said this in one of my other most recent videos. I'm pretty sure. But one of my favorite Star Wars quotes, once again, I'm going to get nerdy on you guys, is actually from one of the more recent movies. When it's a quote from Yoda where he says, "Failure is the best teacher." And it's very true. So sacrifice, death, it's beautiful. The transformation. I love it when there's transformation depicted in the death card, because that's more often what it generally means, at least in the case of my tarot practice. Temperance. It's got that alchemical exchange going on. And the balance. Beautiful. The Devil. This one I love because she's holding a mask. And the interesting thing about the Devil is that oftentimes it means that we're trapped, but we don't realize that we can get out. And oftentimes when we feel trapped, we put on a mask and hide the true parts of ourselves. That's an interesting way to look at it. Well, that's Tower. The poor tree. Definitely speaks to that card, though. Oh, look at the star. I love the star. The star is my astrological card because I'm an Aquarius. So, oh, she looks so free and happy. Oh, the moon. Wish I could fly over the moon like that. Oh, that's a cute sun. So happy. Judgment. kind of similar to Rider-Waite-Smith in this card. I like that. It's beautiful. The world, the mermaid holding our planet, and yet there's still the moon phases there and the sun on the other side. It kind of has this whole completion, which is what the world is. Okay, so now we're going into the court cards, it looks like. King of Cups. Now, the one thing I heard about this deck is that the court cards are definitely very interesting, as they don't often depict full figures. But I think you could really sink into this, especially since the court cards generally can be often either states of consciousness or personality types, or even individuals in your life that resonate with those personalities. I'm still trying to fully understand the courts myself, but like I said, I'm not an expert in tarot, and I don't think I ever will be, but it's something I deeply love. That charging forth energy. It's actually the Knight of Swords. Very earthy. That's interesting. I'm looking forward to diving deeper into this deck to really understand it. I just think there's just something about it. Page of Wands. Oh, this hits me. Sorry, I just needed a moment to take this in. As a person who struggles with this part of their body, this is a whole different thing looking at this way. Wow. That card's probably gonna definitely give me a lot of feelings. I was kind of hoping the Queen of Wands would have her kitty. I always like it when decks have a kitty with the Queen of Wands. Either way, it's a beautiful card. And this is a beautiful deck. And I'm really looking forward to giving you guys my full review on this. But since she was so gracious to send this to me and so kind, I just wanted to show my appreciation by doing an unboxing on this channel. I don't know if I will do unboxings really much on my channel, but for this I definitely wanted to, just because I was so drawn to this deck, and there's a lot of layers to it, and I really enjoyed looking through it on camera with you guys and kind of taking it all in and getting my first impressions on video to share. So once I work with this deck a little bit more, I will again do an in-depth review or talk a little bit more about the structure of the deck, how it read for me, and all that stuff. But I hope you enjoyed this video of my unboxing and first impressions of the Dark Days Tarot, and thank you for watching, guys.